are skeptical of? Are they expecting absolute lights-out performances from them? I don't think so. The reason for that being there is a team in the Korean scene called Team GP. Right now, they are leagues ahead of everyone else playing in Korean Opens and things like that. Many expect them to be here in APAC North come next year. So people thought maybe you pick up players from Team GP. That simply hasn't happened because they want to stay together to try and qualify for APAC North as a group. So in a way, you've kind of gone...
I like that. I
do as well. I think it's really admirable, absolutely. They've kind of said, right, okay, then we'll go to the team or two below. We've gone for Marble and Misa. Their stats weren't particularly great when we looked at them. However, once you're in a much more professional environment, dare I say, a much more established one, maybe they can shine. So let's give them a chance to prove themselves, Tim, and hopefully for Talon, that upwards trajectory that we saw last stage continues here in stage 2.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, personally, I've leaned towards FAV on this, on the predictions.
Okay.
I think just that they've just got that bit more stability. You know, like you said, there's an untested quantity at the minute on the side of Talon, and that test is going to come in the course of this game. We're going to have a Zami Band-Aid, which I know will disappoint you, Des.
Very much so. I think on this map we've seen it used, especially on Catwalk. As we know, on Catwalk you kind of have two bulletproof areas that you as a defender can hide behind, and trying to get between them, it's like running a gauntlet. Chances are you are going to die from Garage Door. Azami just gives you even more protection there. And we saw actually Azami being used in NA yesterday. Theme Park Blaz, one of our own from Europe. He's one of our own.
He's one of our own.
One of our own. I don't know what his full name is, so I can't really finish the whole chant there. But he had some really cool use on Theme Park around Arcade playing on Azami. So I was really excited to see Azami a bit more coming into today. Hopefully see her get used here on Club, but with her being banned away, we'll have to look towards Sense and see what they can do instead.
Well, this is it. You know, Sense is available as well. We have seen a little bit of use. We may see them pop up a little bit more here as well on Clubhouse. And not at the minute. We've got the attacker repick coming in. It's going to be Fuse getting taken away, Sledge brought in. Otherwise, the lineup is pretty much going to remain the same. I don't think we'll see any other changes. Of course, Finka, I think, is going to continue. The interesting point about Finka in this stage is, are we going to see those increased bans? We started seeing them creep in at the major, and it's now that position where it's like, does it hurt us enough to not have Finka to warrant leaving Finka on the board? That is now the trade that is coming in. These teams, of course, leaving are active, but we'll see. I think we'll see that ban rate just creeping up as that LMG. The thing is, I mean, Finka's just so useful for anybody who, you know, maybe has missed the last stage or isn't aware. I've been playing a little bit of Finka recently, Des. And
even you've been getting kills,
well, even I've been getting kills. Not only that, but this goes to show how useful Finka is. I often forget some of the stuff she can do. I go in and it's like, I'm using nades, I've got my LMG, I'm boosting people up, and I forget about the Gon 6. Like, this just, you know, thing after thing after thing. 2 kills come in there, though. FAV opening things up big. Marble and Demic going down, and that will leave us now 5v3.
Yes, good start for number 2, a player that we've hyped up many a times over. But look at that beautiful use of the Sense gadget, Tim. In they go, with Misa finding one back on the other side. It's not quite all going FAV's way at this point, and I say that actually as they get a second kill coming back in, because Talon was starting to get the march on with a wonderful execute, but they have been shut down, not able to clear out the garage. A wonderful shot coming out from Misa, but there's still 3 more players to go through.
He's just trying to play with the audio there, just give them a little pinch of the sound of the diffuser going down, try and see if he can just bait anybody out from FAV, see if he can get them to go there and push forward. Now then, Misa might just actually stick this. No, he's going to pull away. He knows somebody's going to challenge the door, but he can't win the fight. Typon gets the kill, and that is going to be round 1 going to FAV. Very interesting use of the Sense gadget straight away. Love to see it. So the reason that I love that so much, that site is perfect for the explanation that I'm about to give. Quite often we talk about lines of sight and we talk about creating safe spaces. That Sense gadget starts putting that visibly on the screen for people watching at home. So if you're maybe not quite as familiar with the strategy side of things and what's happening, the use there you saw going from the breach, across the red stairs door and across the cash wall, that is one of your lines of sight that you want to hold. And that Sense gadget just really doubles down on that because it creates a safe space in by that server stack for you to move in from. So it's just really fascinating to see that use and to see it just really identifies where is the strength, where is the space that we're trying to lock down here in sight.
What I'm very wary of with the Sense is that teams don't start relying on them to cover over weaknesses or mistakes that they've made in the setup, and I think you kind of saw it there. Talon were kind of gung-ho, Hail Mary, 3v4, let's go for it, I'm sure this will be absolutely fine. and they forget about Catwalk. I don't want teams to get lazy in using it. It's what you see in other games. They refer to it as a win more operator. You know, you're already in a good position. It just makes your position even stronger from that point forwards. So again, if we're going to see it come out again, I really want to see people, or teams specifically, using it in a much more calculated way. Let's go then with a downstairs defense. We've got a bandit on side team that has been used already to electrify these cash CC walls. So really, a good roam being committed by FAV here around the garage side of things. A couple of members dropping away, but they want to make sure Talon are busy around the map.
Absolutely. I mean, we do have Thatcher on the board, you know, quite rarely available. With Flores and Hibana being the attackers taken out, it is going to mean those EMP gadgets are available. Not been selected here, and it may well be something that Talon come to rue if they struggle to get themselves into that top floor and deal with this roam. They are going to be heading in from one side, but Afro can be reasonably confident here that he's only going to be pushed from that direction, but he gets carried away. Demic already got himself down the logistics hatch. He's going to find an absolute freebie onto the flank of the bandit, and that is going to be Talon opening up their account in round 2.
It was really good and proactive by Talon as well, because it would have been very easy for all the members to be on the roof, outside jacuzzi, sat on drones, for example, and no one really looking to go for the swing. But for Demic to already be inside of Logi, making that aggressive play off the information coming in from his team, that second drone that you saw go down just confirmed what was going on, and Demic will not find a freer kill throughout the rest of the day. Great team play coming out of Talon.
Ramu just playing underneath at the minute, knows that that floor is going to continue getting opened up, but I'm not sure if they're aware of Ramu's position underneath here, because the sledge is being pretty liberal with that hammer, but without paying proper attention to the mid floor, could find himself getting caught out. There's the drone that's going to give the information.
I love this.
There is the kill. Misa right on the back of that drone, and that is a great example of aggressive drone in there. You get your drone in, you get the information, and you have somebody there ready to challenge before they can dip away.
I always look for that 3 to 5 second window after a drone is killed. Okay, information found. What is the action? Number 2 with the action. Wasn't droned out. Misa being a little bit overconfident there maybe and getting caught out.
Oh!
Number 2 into a second, and all this hard work done in the first 90 seconds by Talon with those aggressive drone then act plays has been shut down by one man. He's looking in for a third here as well. Almost gets shot in through the boxes in front of him as well. The shells not quite 100% bulletproof. Demic finds another. Number 2 trying to back away. Marble gets the close down. Taipon's left alone. Talon deserved this round, but they've got to bring down the last man. That they shall. Second round convincingly to Talon.
Much better from Talon there, but for a little bit of a hero play coming in from number 2. FAV were all but out of that round after about a minute or so. So Talon not messing about on the clearance of those upper floors. I don't think that we'll be seeing Church and Arsenal again. I'm expecting FAV to move themselves away from it. They have selected Jim at the minute, because that wasn't even kind of close, Des.
It wasn't. I do want to keep on going back to that point we mentioned around the whole drone and act thing. Like, Siege does not have to be an inexplicably complex game. It can be nice and simple, and that was just beautifully simple play. I'm sure Fabian sat there somewhere now after last game where we were tearing our hair out like, all the basics are being missed. Just seeing the basics done well is what makes Siege absolutely beautiful, and Talon have shown, despite the changes coming in, that they can still get this really basic drone play out, have a player opt off the back of it, and get some kills immediately. It's good stuff, but now they've got to try and bring it through onto a site where you aren't going to see so much of roam as much as you'll see an extended hold likely out towards Cash CC.
This is it, and I mean, droning is a complete skill. It's almost a mini game in itself as to deciding how you play it. It's something that I've spoken about to new players off stream before as well, and basically the way to look at it is, depending on the distance to your drone, it's a risk and reward. So the further you are, if you're being droned in as a player, you're an entry player, you're going in, you've got your teammate with a drone ahead of you, the further away you are from that, the lower the risk, but also the lower the aggression, the less chance of the reward. Because by the time you get there, it's 10, it's 15 seconds, and players have moved, things have shifted, you can get caught out. If you're stood right on top of that drone, if it's underneath your feet as it's going in, and you're 1 second behind it, the chances are you're going to be straight into that engagement, but the risk is much higher. So it's just about finding that balance of distance to play from that information utility.
Yep, the CC wall opened up nice and easy by here of Misa as well. Normally you'd see teams stick like a mute jammer on there, or you would have before, and I always used to question it because The mute jammers now, as we all know, are spherical. You can essentially put a thermite, exothermic down in either corner of the wall, and it will still open. And given the size of the explosion, the mute jammer is basically pointless. So I quite like, actually, that Shin has gone, look, forget about wasting a mute here. Keep it on site, keep it around the focus, let them have the walls if they want them. It's still going to cost them 60 seconds for Misa to get over either sides of the map, and we go forwards from there. That almost, in a way, renders the Maverick pick not useless, but his gadget doesn't really do anything in this round. He still brings a great gun, has still got the nades on side. That's all well and good, but that Maverick pick could have been something else now if they'd known that was the way that FAV played this defense.
FAV can find themselves coming under some pressure as nades start to find their way in from that jacuzzi wall, but they're making good progress so far at Talon. They've got the wall open, they've got access in towards site, and they can start shifting people around, so much so that we're seeing that Toxic Babe utility coming out from number 2 already. Only one of them left with 1 minute 20 left to go. There goes the last, so that is great play from Talon to bait out all that utility. There is still a Goyo Vulcan canister on the left-hand side of that wall, which can be popped. That'll burn out a further 25 seconds. So, FAV, they've still got more utility to play behind, but not an unlimited amount. No, Misa, you cannot get yourself caught out that easily.
He was on drone and he was being tagged the whole time, so he must have known what was coming, but ultimately pays the price. And number 2, he must be literally pixels behind this wooden barricade here. Otherwise, a soft spray or a nade will do the trick. Why not both at the same time? Gunshots coming through, and nade follows as well, and Talon even up the kill feed.
I'm not quite sure why number 2 holds that quite so aggressively. He was in an important position, and that Goyo canister has now been completely wasted. It's not going to be detonated on the wall. Demic manages to find one onto Ramu, and this is all falling apart as Talon, they sweep in through sight. Shin and Afro, though, they go big Des. They manage to turn it around. What was a 2v3, a 2v4, I think, becomes a 1v2, and it is all up to Hedy. He has the HP advantage. Afro and Shin super low, but it doesn't matter as Shin manages to find the shots from construction, and he starts building a better round, a better game for FAV.
That 3K coming back in from FAV was huge there as well, because Talon had that momentum, right? 2 nade kills, a 3rd kill came through. Suddenly, what was a 5 versus 4 for FAV was then a 2 versus 5, but they managed to swing it all the way back round. Those 2 players doing a lot of work in the close there. I thought Talon had the right sort of idea as well, just forcing out that utility quite early. Maybe if Misa hadn't gone down to a smoke that I can only imagine was placed at the bottom of the drone hole, for example, that would have been a man still stood up on his feet. It would have been someone able to get on drones. It would have been smokes for the execute, but instead they're kind of left a little bit high and dry there with only nades being their utility left that they could make use of. But Tim, we rotate back to where we started things off. It's going to be Cash and CC. Curious to see if we get a Sense 6 picked in here as well, because as we saw back in round 1, it was used effectively, just not quite in the right place. But I imagine, given you're seeing Soldier look, at least for now, hovering over the Monty, you might saw what we saw out of CAG in the last map. We mentioned that in the first 5 rounds, they had 5 different approaches to a site. They had the IQ play from below, they had Monty, they had Ad Ossa, we had the other side of Spear bringing along Ying at some point as well, we had the Sense use as well. It just feels like there are so many options for attackers here that even with how things are going, it's almost impossible to ban out all those different strats they can employ.
That's the key. It's the number of operators that we're getting up to. You know, obviously that slowly continues to creep up, which is a good thing. It offers that extended variety, and it just means that, like you say, the defenders, they've got to be thinking about all these different possibilities. They are going to stick with the Monty this time. We would usually see the Monty play up onto Catwalk and try to force the player out. Number 2, he wants a piece here. He wants to be peeking out. He just can't see anybody at the minute. He's waiting for that rappel onto Garage. There is somebody heading up onto the roof, but as you say, they're just too deep on the far side of the map for him to be able to see. And Talon, they're going to be able to continue getting this wall open.
They're not playing against an active trigger here, I think, as well, despite one man.
No, it's just a mute jammer, I think.
They're just being quite worried as well about potentially the electric claw coming out, but it's just not on this wall. Opened up all too easy for Misa, and there we go once again inside the first 60 seconds.
That's job done. It does create a little bit of a situation because the bottom of the wall will possibly still be in place. We'll see as it goes on. When you have to apply the exothermic higher up like that to avoid the mute jammer, you can find the bottom still in place, which means you've got to go through a little bit of a vault animation to get inside, so it can be a little bit of a factor. Soldier, as suggested, is going to be heading onto the catwalk. He will just play there. He'll just be a looming presence of doom on that catwalk, just waiting to bully that player out of there. Now then, what do they do with this information, Des? Talon, they've just seen that number 2 is playing around billiards table, and I don't think he's aware of that. There's somebody inside a bar that's got the angle. This has got to be a free kill for Talon.
Well, you're hoping that. And also for Soldier potentially pushing his way up onto Catwalk here. It can be really hard to bully like this unless you're a very competent Monty player. I'm thinking about Anderson for Kag, for example, but the pings are coming in. Out comes the pistol. He can't quite connect them. Not a single shot hitting. Goes for it again. Ramu down to about 2 HP. Will he find the kill this time, though? No, it's this awkward 1 versus 1. But finally, Heady comes in with the support. They find 2 kills, and sight is in the hands of Talon.
Diffuser's going to be going down straight away, not messing about, not wasting any opportunity, and Typon, he gets really unlucky there. He's watching that angle as Marble comes up the stairs, but he just turns away at the wrong time. Afro able to get the planting Heady, but not before the Diffuser goes down, and with Soldier on side as a Monty, this is not going to be easy in a 2v2. Number 2 and Afro have to prioritise getting the kill onto Marble. Once they've done that, they can deal with that big shieldy boy as a duo, but if they lose one, that will be the round. Soldier just looking to make a little bit of a nuisance of himself, making the challenge slightly. He needs the support from Marble on the rappel. In goes the nade. It is going to force the defenders back, and time is ticking down. It's almost certain that they lose this. That is going to be the round for Talon, unless number 2 can stick this, which he cannot. And that is a nice attack from Talon.
That's another wonderful passage of play from Talon. Think back again to when we referenced the early round play around drones. You've just seen a very similar, siege basics, you can call it, they're pulled off there. Rather than trying to go aggressive, peeking over, looking for the kills and all the glory, they've got the Monty feeding information. They haven't got, the Thinker hasn't got to peek over the balcony because the attackers can see where that claw is latched onto the edge of the balcony. They know where your head's going to pop up. It's mega risky for you to try and go for that kill. So instead, they just leave it to come down to time. You can see the defenders panicking a little bit. Again, just a wonderfully composed, patient passage of play coming out of Talon. And for a team that we kind of had doubts about, given the changes they've had, Azzy leaving as well, this is looking really solid so far.
It is looking good. We're looking now back down to Church and Arsenal in round 5 for FAV. We saw them play it back in round 2. It was no good, is the best way that I can describe it. They tried to play the roam game out in the map. Talon read into it perfectly. We saw that great use of utility, the drones going in and the close follow and contact just behind it when the information had been fed through. Talon did a great job of clearing the roamers. They got control of the map very quickly. They basically didn't have to go anywhere near sight. The final kill came in down there, but other than that, 4 were dead around the map. So I think FAV maybe just need to play this one a little bit more conservatively this time.
You say that, and then they're rocking up with things like Pulse, they've got the Vigil on side, they've got Valkyrie to support the roam. They really want to get out in the map here and cause some chaos, which is completely understandable. If you feel Talon aren't going to be the kind of team to suddenly just rush the site, why not force them to come and attack into you? The problem is, I was looking down their lineup, Tim, a second ago, and I didn't see like a Monty shield, so I thought, okay, they're not going to rush site with a Monty. No, Tim. They're going to rush it with a blitz.
Why not? If you're going to rush anything, then bring along the shield that flashes instead of the one that just stands there as a brooding presence. At the minute, they're just a little bit unsure. I think they know that number 2 is knocking about somewhere. Mute Jammer just making it difficult for him to be drawn out. And they've got Ramu out in stock as well. Drone gets taken down. Doesn't see him, but it will at least give an idea of his presence there or thereabouts. And Demic instead is going to head into stock. But everything that FAV are doing right now is actually working to slow this push down. Shin with a great opener, Nitro onto Misa, and that is advantage FAV.
I think there it was the lack of knowledge that there was a pulse on side. That's just an absolute freebie C4. If you knew there was a pulse, you wouldn't be hovering around, taking your time, peeking around a doorway 2 or 3 times. You keep on moving. And Soldier, how's that LMG go? Oh yeah, death for Ramu.
Just churning through the bullets there. Still plenty to go. There will be no requirement to reload. But the question is, have they seen Afro on the main stairs? They will do now. The challenge comes straight in. There you go.
What?
The blitz. Somehow Afro manages to get the kill. He just sprays Demic down and hits the headfire. The headshot, sorry, whilst completely flashed out. Typon. Afro gets himself another. And that leaves us now 4v1. And all of a sudden, in a matter of heartbeats, Heady is on the back foot.
And he can be picked up entirely by the pulse. No drone work's going to help you because you've also got the Vigil out and about around the map. You've got 3 smokes left in Typon's back pocket. Oh, just basically everything that could be stacked against him, Tim, is. There's also a C4 supporting number 2, which I imagine as soon as he has an idea where the sledge is coming from, may look to try and yield it. He's waiting inside a church, hoping there'll be a main stairs push. But again, given the time, you will see that C4 come out.
45 seconds left to go. Heady just trying to work with angles. We do see the C4 detonated there. It's not going to catch his man. It was certainly a worthwhile try. Just chuck it anywhere under that kitchen floor and see what you get, knowing that the sledge was opening things up. But it was not the end end for FAV, but it's surely a matter of time here. Heading towards the blue stairs now. Maybe thinks that is going to be his best approach. He could drop oil pit, he could go down the stairs, chooses not to take the cam out, and that's very purposeful because he doesn't want to give away his approach, but the couple of shots through the barricade will do that, and that's a swing and a miss, Heady. You're going to have to get a little bit closer than that. He's playing with a bit of caution here. There he goes, but he knows he's likely to be challenged as soon as he does. But FAV, they're being very patient here. They're not over peaking. They're just waiting for their opportunity. Number 2 knows that he can dip underneath that fire. You'll see the traces. That tells him exactly the height that he's being aimed at. Takes the little crouch down, peeks out, finds his kill, shuts down Heady, and that is going to be round number 5 going to FAV. Gives them the 3-2 lead.
I think they were so committed to try and find the vigil that they just didn't consider what else could happen, which was, I think, a flank coming up from the lower main stairs. Like, you know, realistically, you've got all your resources looking skyward. You forget about what's coming in from below. Brilliant shutdown overall by FAV, and a good aggressive move where the vigil and the player below is involved, just to make sure they find those 3 kills in the mid-round and shut down Talon's attack entirely. Now we're going to Bar and Stage, Tim, a site that we don't see all that often. When it first got reworked, we saw a number of creative ideas coming out. I can't ever forget Navi's wonderful 3-floor hold of this map. The mirror plays that you sometimes see up on the top floor as well. Of course, not going to see it here as she is banned away. So I'm keen to see what FAV's take on it is, and most interestingly, or more importantly, how Talon are going to break that open.
Exactly that. Usually we will see the attackers try and get themselves into the top floor. They want to get that control. The main area being the hatch inside construction, because they want the verticality down onto the plant spot, which would be stage. If the defenders are in charge of that area, then it's all too easy for them to stop a plant attempt in by the travel cases and speakers in the corner there. So that is going to be number 1 priority, I would expect, for Talon. Whether they just come in from CCTV cash side or whether they maybe push a little bit of jacuzzi at the same time, we will see as it mounts up. But they also need to deal with Ramu out in strip as well, because he's in a position to hold some very long angles. But look at that Heady, straight in with a kill onto Shin, and that is a great start for this Talon roam clear. Yeah,
great way of dealing with the early aggression as well. Again, looking back to our last game of Spear versus Cyclops, those are the kind of kills that were happening around Lone Office quite frequently. Just little kills here and there in the early round that really shouldn't be happening, whereas Talon, Heady especially, has got the presence of mind to deal with it. Now they've got to march their way through this top floor and try and deal with this setup. By the looks of it, there's a couple of mute jammers scattered out towards Cash and CC, which will slow them down, and there we go. Now they'll know that jammer is just through inside of Cash. If they spray that out, potentially they could save both of their drones.
That's it, they could well take it down. We can see it just inside the corner there behind the soft wall, but not going to be taking a chance at the minute. Marble is going to clear out one with the Gon 6, but the second drone then able to go in from Misa, and that will give them the information that they need. They're not going to worry too much about the one sat in the corner. There is one.
Probably
just they can take it out, but then they can just go and pick the drone up and they can bypass it. They're going to be focused more on moving forward, which is taking out the mute jammer that was to the left of the door. The drones will continue to roll through. They're going to take information out of construction, just going to try and force the players back as well. But for the time being, number 2 was holding, but as he hears that charge opening up the wall, the Maverick, he is going to dip away.
Absolutely. I like how methodically Talon are playing this round as well. You know, it's drone forwards, okay, held up, let's get someone in there to clear things out. The risks that they're taking are very minimal. It's a very quick peek around the corner, get rid of the jammer, dip back in, whilst being mindful of potential angles that you could be challenged from. Now they've got that vertical control and can't be challenged, they're looking to step forwards. You've got Demet looking in towards the kitchen hallway, who could cut off Typon as he comes back up. Number 2 really is the key man they want to get rid of, because he'll have a C4. In fact, no, he's already used a C4. So he's holding here with an SMG, and maybe is trying to just peek round with a shotgun when the time is right. Typon a little bit limited in what he can do, as Demic is still holding that angle.
That's it, he's just got that opportunity to peek through the door. We see one nade come in, but it's going to take more if they want to move number 2 out of here, which they will do, because they need to have him dealt with in order to get the diffuser down. Big mistake as number 2 manages to find short Soldier, and Talon just getting a little bit, I was going to say over aggressive, but that is the criticism I'd have to make of number 2 there, as he steps himself too far out, and we now find ourselves in a 2v4. Afro can manage to make a beautiful challenge onto the breach there, takes down Demic, but it's traded by Marble. 1v3, it's all up to Ramu to hold on. Misa's getting the plant down, and there's very little that the KE can do here. As soon as he pushes forward, he's going to find himself in a crossfire. There's one on main stairs, there's one just down prone, as we can see on that 4 ping. The information is there for him, but he can't find the challenge onto Marble, and that is going to be the round closed out, and an even 3-3 split at the half.
I said number 2 don't swing, only because that feels like the most illogical thing to do in that situation. When you potentially got 2 or 3 angles bearing down on you, stepping out wide would be a complete death sign for you. You knew you were going to go down. But fortunately, he gets to swing in at a time as the player has stepped away, assuming that number 2 is not going to move. It's a hashtag relatable siege moment, Tim.
Certainly is. Certainly is. I like to see that spreading. It's absolutely that. It's that moment we've all been in where you think, if I take this challenge and I win this challenge, that swings the round. But really, I think for number 2 there, the smart players to realise that my very presence here is stopping that plant from going down. I am the sticking point, and as soon as he was removed, as you saw, about 10 seconds later, diffuser's going down, because then they have the map control that they needed. Round number 7 is going to be down to Church and Arsenal. We'll switch our sides out. Talon will move on to the defence, but at this point in time there is no real advantage to be gained. I would argue though, in a 3-3, Talon moving on to the defence, I would favour them slightly. If they can hold on to this and one of the top floor sites, then they could be looking at a 7-5 win.
I think they're in a pretty comfortable spot. We'll see just how much I wouldn't say the advantage, but being at the 3-3 is a good spot to be in. It's good momentum for you as well. You know, they've gone back and forth on rounds here. Round 1, FAV. Round 2, Talon. FAV, Talon, FAV, Talon, all the way through. So it's good confidence for them to be in a spot where, with these 2 new pickups, by the way, who I think are playing incredibly well. You know, Misa playing on the more supportive role. Marble has been great up in the front line, currently top fragging for the team as well. And we thought maybe we'd see Soldier or Demic up there. You're seeing Marble be a lot more involved in the hard entry, though, is much more on the frontline roles, right? Things like the Finker have been there for him. I think one round he played the Ace when they needed that extra hard breach, when they needed 3 for Gym and Bedroom. But outside of that, he has been on the Finker in this very aggressive role and delivering the goods most critically.
Soldier, he's just going to play that important role at the top of main stairs, just preventing a little bit of access into kitchen, just trying to burn a bit of time there. As soon as they know that he's there, they're going to be very cautious, because obviously it is a very quick peek onto that door. But Typon,
just look at this comp.
I know.
What is that?
Oppressive. You've got the Fuse, you've got the Glass, you've got the Sense, you've got the Monty, you've got the Ying. You've basically got about every oppressive operator that you could bring outside of, you know, you've got the flip side of Lion, Dokkaebi, Jackal, but that's a completely different kind of force, really.
Oh my God.
This is going to be a big dirt push.
It's going to be a dirty dirt push, Tim, with the way it's setting up. I've honestly never seen a comp this filthy. I'm disgusted right now in FAV. But if this comes off, it'll be a thing of beauty. For now, at least, being held back by the smokes. You've got the fuse set up above kitchen, making sure no one is playing in back Arsenal. So they can guarantee, at least for now, that side of things is clear. It's not going to stop someone rotating in through, for example, the crouch hole next to Demic, and they've got to worry more about what's coming front facing. A nade over the top catches on towards Heady and Misa, neither going down, but it's still good damage.
The problem there was the canister, the smoke canister got caught on top of the boxes, so that is one wasted effectively. As you can see, it hasn't pushed them back, and the third will have to be used in order to try to slow things down here. And that's it, as you say, they've absolutely no idea. There's going to come a point where one of those sort of visual barricades comes through, blocks them off. They've got Glass peeking through. It's going to be an absolute nightmare, and this is about to be that moment. We can see it go out, and this is going to be the moment now for number 2 to start working forward. He's peeking through, and it's absolute freebies there, but he somehow gets sprayed down. Demic, he must manage to locate him through sound, gets the kill, but the plant is still going to be going down. Shin's just holding his angle now, preventing anybody moving across. He manages not to get himself one, but there is a team kill in and among Shin. He locks it down, 2v2, but the diffuser's down on the ground.
This is looking good so far, actually. Oh, Shin coming up with some big kills out here in Dirt still as well. In the 2 versus 2, I thought maybe we'd start to see a swing back, and Afro was doing his job as well, making sure no one could play inside of deep Arsenal. So Soldier really unable to have an impact here as well. Knows that there's 2 coming through. That diffuser being down means they've got to push through. Oh, Afro, what a wonderful shot around the corner onto the bomb chassis. Gets the closeout, and FAV, it wasn't quite the method they were looking for, Tim, but it's the result they were after.
That just goes to show how messy Sense can make a round. Just, there was so much vision blocked off. Demic manages to get a brilliant kill onto the Glass. Maybe a bit of luck involved there. Sprays in the sort of general direction into the chaos that's unfolding in front of him and gets a headshot onto the Glass. But then you have a team kill in there, because there's players just can't see where each other are. It's just a nightmare in that corner of Arsenal there, and it was well picked up, to be fair. It was well picked up by FAV, you know, still managing to get in there. It was very, very close to Soldier at the end. Afro with a beautiful little peek around the corner, but ultimately, FAV can count themselves lucky, really, on that one.
I didn't quite see where Demic got the kill from as well, but I really would love to know if he got the kill by seeing the shot lines coming out as they came out of the glass, or if he was perched out towards Blue Door and just managed to step inside of the smoke. Because let's not forget, those sense gadgets aren't invincible. You can walk through them. They can be C4'd off like we saw with the first one that came out. There are ways around them, and sometimes players just don't expect that you're going to run through a smoke, or in this case, literally run through a wall that doesn't block your vision for all that long. So either way, Demic really got the shutdown that could have made that round a lot harder than it was for FAV. It did obviously come down to that 1 versus 1 at the end, and a wonder shot made sure they got what they needed.
Certainly an interesting strategy, and one that I'm sure we will see a little bit more of. For the time being, it's going to move up to Cash and CCTV. Typon not wasting any time, straight up there looking to get this wall opened up. He's just a little bit cautious as there's not too much denial going on there. There's an opportunity for him to get this open. He's just going to check with the drones and make sure there's nobody in a position. There isn't anybody playing with electricity or anything else, so he can get that opened up pretty much at will. Even if there's a mute jammer on there, we've already seen all he needs to do is rappel above it now that they've got the new I keep saying new, but it's about 6 months old now. They've got the spherical radius, so it just changes the area of effect on that wall. Typon able to open it, absolutely not a problem. They had the Thatcher in tow as well. Straight out goes the ace. Selma charge will be blocked out by a mirror for the time being, but an EMP once again will be able to clear that out.
I think the concern there was he got caught out potentially by something. I've seen an EMP come through, but nothing really happened. Maybe he got caught out by the Wamai, I'm not sure. C4 comes out straight into the burn. What a combo coming out from Talon. Down goes Shin, shield removed, and that is #1 threat off the board.
And if you were wondering how do you deal with a Monty on catwalk, that is exactly how you force him up the stairs with a well-placed Toxic Babe, and then you hit him with the Nitro Goyo combo. Beautifully played, and Talon have themselves an advantage as FAV scramble now to try and get themselves some sort of control. They've got the breach open, which is step 1. That's fantastic, but they really need that garage catwalk if their intention is to plant in behind the server stack, which I expect it will be. As a minimum, they want somebody in the position that they have Zafir in right now. Ramu holds the angle towards Cash Door, and then they need somebody on that garage catwalk to watch down towards Red Stairs. That cuts off any angle whereby that plant can be interrupted, and they're able to get into that safe space. Now then, number 2, Afro, they managed to find kills for themselves, and they are in a position now to be able to push forward.
I don't think the visual didn't come up, but he was definitely planting. We saw the animation go down, and they've managed to stick it out. 2 quick kills really helping FAV to get control of the map and get it down. Now Talon got to stage this comeback here. A 3 versus 3. Look for the long angle, Soldier. The man is there, but Afro finds the shot first. No one to come in for a trade, but he's expecting someone out of construction window. That's simply not going to happen. They should have the downstairs control as well here, Tim. Unfortunately means I'm missing a couple of critical shots onto Ramu. FAV will close this round out, and again, another smash and grab with a good couple of kills coming through in the mid-round, mean that they open Talon up, get the plant down, and will move up to what looks to be 5 and 3.
But FAV have done fantastically well here. They do close out the round there, and I would expect to maybe see a tactical timeout come along from Talon any moment now. We'll see if we have it between these rounds, but it's getting to a point whereby if you're going to use it, you better use it quick, because you might not be in this one for much longer. FAV going 5-3 up, and I was, as I said, coming into it, I sort of favoured Talon for the second half being 3-3. If they could hold on to either of those sites, they were in a position to really start getting some momentum. But FAV have just been able to absolutely pick them apart so far.
It's one of those when I'm looking at it and just thinking the rounds have been not exactly clean. Like, looking back at round 7, it was that absolute madness comp of something I've never seen of that variety before. The next round there, Talon were largely in control, it felt like, until those 2 or 3 kills came through in the mid-round. So maybe on Talon's side, they're saying, look, it's not really down to strategy or tactics that we're losing here. We just got to stop taking those gunfights in the mid-round. You know, don't feel like you have to peek everything. Just be aware of the potential side plants coming in. Little things like that, rather than massive big issues they need to have a conversation about for now. Let's see how Gym and Bedroom goes. It's going to be the 3rd site of the rotation. So likelihood is next round we'll go back down to Church, then Cash TC again, before returning into Gym and Bedroom in round number 12. Assuming we get there.
As you say, Talon just scratching at the minute, trying to find anything that they can secure, anything that they can lock down. They're going to have the fuse brought against them again here. The attacker repick being utilised consistently here in this matchup. Of course, it gives the opportunity for the attackers to go in and never really be caught out. As soon as you see which site it is, you can say, right, what composition do we need? What are we missing? What do we need to change out? What is the plan? What is the play? How are we going to work it? And that is exactly what FAV are doing fantastically well at the minute. Marble nearly loses his life there at the beginning, has no option but to dip away down into the basement, and that's already a good start for FAV.
It's not really an issue there, I'd say, where, again, yeah, you're wasting a bit of time, but now their concern for the side of FAV is you've got a player down in the basement. Where's he going to pop up? Is it going to be main stairs? Is he pop back up towards blue again? It just means you constantly have to keep him in the back of your mind, otherwise you'll get slaps on the flank a little bit later on. Again, that spherical radius coming through, not blocking off the fuse charge, which will come through and clear that away. Great for getting rid of the utility, which then means that hard breach gadget can come off as well. Great use of the fuse.
Oh, it's a perfect little combination. Fuse has two main jobs, and neither of them are getting kills. One of them is clearing gadgets and utility. The other is forcing defenders to move. That's what he's about, shepherding them into a position where teammates can pick them up. He's a very supportive operator in that way. You don't expect those hockey pucks necessarily to pick up kills. As you say, that's going to be the next challenge, clearing out the utility so that they can move Soldier from inside a cache. But it's not going to take FAV long from this position.
There's only one left as well. You know, the Ace has only got one sound still in back pocket. Marble finds one as Misa tries to come up for the push onto Ramu, but loses out. Now Soldier's got to deal with red. He's got to potentially deal with other pressure coming in as well. He's very much landlocked here inside a cache. It's one of those questions, Tim. Are they stuck in there with him, or is he stuck in there with them?
That's it. No man is an island, and he finds that out the hard way as Soldier is going to go down. Demic does manage to find number 2, so that leaves us effectively in a 3v3 as soon as FAV realise that Soldier is down and they can push in, get aggressive. There you go. Afro picks up the kill. Marble's still well away from sight here, so effectively if FAV move quickly, they'll find themselves with a 3v2 advantage, and they could potentially shut down a line of sight onto that staircase and prevent the Jaeger from returning.
That's exactly it, right? It's about the threat that he can provide. It was, what, 2 minutes 40 in the round when we saw him disappear into the basement? He's still been kind of dancing around there looking for his opportunity and may yet find it. It could be through the hatch. It could be coming back up main stairs, which is exactly what he's done here. So rather than trying to go too aggressive and pull off a really flashy play, he said, right, back on site, let's reinforce ourselves, have 3 players here and be ready to go in the last 30 seconds.
With a bit of cover on window, there is a potential for Afro to be able to get inside a site here. He just needs that line to be held, and it's the Iana that's in the position, but no, somehow Ramu manages to go in even on low health and get the first kill. Demic does find Afro, leaving us now 2v2, and then he manages to find another one from the same position. That's a little bit sloppy from FAV there, allowing that, but Ramu, is he going to stick this here? No, he knows he needs to come off. Shut down, low health. Demic manages to find that final kill, and that is going to be Talon finally taking their first defensive round, but things don't look pretty. It's gone the opposite to exactly what they wanted here. FAV taking 2 attacks. They can now rinse and repeat. They can pick up the same sites, and they can potentially get themselves a win.
Hetty again involved in a really big 2-man play at the end of a round. It was back in round 4 that he pulled off the play with Marble, who was on the Finker, if you recall, back when it was the Monty and the Finker in the post plant. You've just seen him kind of sit and play behind. He kind of sold his man out, really, baited him into a kill because they then thought Secret was clear. It wasn't. Hetty stood across, got 2 kills from that spot, and really, FAV just didn't consider there could be a second player inside of logistics. But a round is a round, and whether it's by clean or by crook or by cleanliness in terms of play, they have managed to find themselves around him. They're still down 1, mind you. So FAV have still got the advantage here, the chance to pull ahead a little bit more, but Talon at least have started to fight their way back.
Certainly have got themselves something to start building off, at least. This is now a very important round. If Talon can level this up, you look at it and you think, we could be heading for a little bit of overtime on Playday 1 of APAC North. But if FAV get this round, it feels like it's probably all but done, because the options will be to go back to CCTV cash again for a 3rd time, having lost it twice, or it will be down to Church and Arsenal, having lost it once. So neither are going to be a mouth-watering prospect for Talon. So this important round needs to be won.
I'm kind of surprised that we've only really seen the Sens used once, right? We saw it back in round 1, and then since then it's just been parked off to one side. And I think maybe that's because Talon just thought, look, we tried it once, it didn't really work out. they countered us, they responded, whatever, and haven't bothered since. But FAV equally have not really leaned in towards it, except for in round 7 when we had that crazy kind of cheese play come out. And I'd hate for Sense to become that operator that's only used in cheese comps. Like, they're a very good operator with a super valuable gadget that you can use in so many different ways that I'm hoping it doesn't kind of fall by the wayside as time goes by.
No, I think we'll see a bit more development with it as time goes on, and teams have, more hands-on time to try a few different things. But also, I don't know if I'd maybe call it cheese. I think he'll probably find himself more niche. It'll be more, very specific sites, very specific opportunities that we see him brought along. Kind of like with the Ossa. We see Ossa brought along for very specific purposes usually, and I think he may well just fall into a similar bracket there. So Marble is going to be pushing up the main stairs on the defence, just looking to just hold off that master bedroom side. He's going to take down the Gemini clone, and that will leave him racing back down to the basement.
Absolutely, off and down they go, and now the work can start on this top floor. The sweep across, the clear out. We've seen it 1,000,001 times at this point, just getting control of this west side of the map. So interestingly, you see two kind of attacks coming into this map, right, where normally the East Breach is a guaranteed must-start point. Some teams, they're moving towards Garage and get that control, and that is what they need for a plan. Some teams, though, like to get the East Breach and then go over towards the construction side, which is exactly what they've gone for here. The problem, though, is now the exothermics are gone, they're relying on these Selmas to get the wall opened up because the impact tricks have come over the top, and there is still a C4 in the back pocket of Demet they've got to be worried about.
Well played from Talon so far. We're going to have another impact trick coming out, and there is a lot of utility that has gone on this wall so far in terms of trying to get it open.
Oh, he missed.
You can see that he's just...
I've never seen that before.
He will take another opportunity. He'll get that reapplied, and we'll see that one just working this time. So access has been gained, but FAV have burnt a lot of time and a lot of utility trying to do so.
They were fortunate that when I was being EMP'd out there, I would have swallowed that Selma, and then that's it, the wall stays closed. And that is the death knell for this particular site. If you can't get construction opened up when that is where your attack is being engineered. Ramu steps in and brings down Soldier. There's 2 or 3 players for the side of Talon, all like gathering around red stairs. It can be a little bit chaotic when you're all trying to take the same sight lines here, so they've got to be careful of that. Typon being mindful of what might come in from below, maybe expecting a C4 or just someone stood there with an angle waiting to do some damage. Shin on the downstairs. They're so scared about this flank, but I'm pretty sure everyone's sat on sight at this point, Tim.
Nitro just comes out. Beautiful view we get as it lands at the feet of number 2 and shuts him down. Typon. Opportunity now to get that diffuser down. He's going to have to stick it as the clock ticks by. We can see we're in a 4v2, effectively a 3v1 now. Misa last alive as Marble was down, and that's going to be the round for FAV. It was important, as I said, because now it puts them on map point, and Talon are faced with a difficult choice. It's really a rock and a hard place. Do you go to the site you've lost one, Stez, or you go to the site that you go to? It's going to be difficult if they choose to defend down in the basement, because in the back of the mind, Des, surely they've got that composition lodged there. Are we going to see the Glaz, Ying, Sens, Monty combo? Is that what we're going to be up against here? There's going to be a lot of focus towards that. If they do have to play into it, it could be difficult. If FAV choose to go a different way and bring a different set of operators, play it a little bit more normally, it may well be that Talon aren't really prepared, aren't really set up for that push because they're worried about the other. It's just such a tricky site for them now.
Well, you know me, Tim, there's a saying that I always love saying, which is fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Talon should have some ideas about what's coming or the potential of it coming and have a response. And at the minute, that looks to be that Maestro. Of course, can still see through the smokes as well. So if they are trying to get in there and cause some damage, those evil eyes can zap away to their heart's content. So I like at least that there's a little bit of consideration towards it, but they haven't gone, guys, they are 100% running that comp. Let's not go for a different setup altogether. They've kind of stayed true to the defense that they want, with only one change really being made to accommodate that.
FAV then, 6-4. If they win this one, it's going to be a full 3 points for them to kick off APAC North, and it could be that season, Des. As you said, we keep talking about it stage after stage. Is this FAV? Have they arrived? Is this going to be the stage? And this could be a big start. There is the giveaway. Ramu, you need to move quicker. You need to move quicker. He finds his man. Manages to get the opener onto Marble, and that is a nightmare start for Talon in round 11.
Beautiful start, absolutely. Again, showing the sort of thing we commended Talon for, so it wouldn't be fair to not say the same about FAV. aggressively droning, playing off the back of it. Get information, take an action. FAV doing exactly the same as Talon. A good start to the round. Those Claymores going down now to make sure the flanks aren't going to come and hit them hard. We spoke about this actually quite a bit at the Major, how a number of teams are banning away Nomad or simply not playing it, and instead just opting to bring 2, sometimes even 3 operators with Claymores, because now you get 2 of them rather than just the 1. So even in some places, like we have here in APAC North, where against down 1 Kia, you're having to double Claymore off, for example, Shrine Window on Skyscraper, it does give you a lot of cover from those potential flanks, especially where things like jump outs, or in this case, climbing ladders is concerned.
Afro just going to be trying to work down into Oil Pit, just softening up blue area a little bit. But FAV, they've got plenty of control, they've got plenty of time. Des Talon can do nothing here but try to hold on. And if they get caught with another loss in terms of manpower, it could be decisive. Shin, he's looking, waiting for that EMP. He's going to get the stock hatch open, so that's going to apply even more pressure into blue corridor. They've got kitchen control. They can start really working in towards getting sight ready for a plant.
Interesting how there's no sledge on side, right? They've kind of foregone the grenades and gone, actually, you know what? Hard breach will do just fine. We only need the ace on side. We don't need 2 hard breaches for this because we can bring those hard breach gadgets, but it does mean they sacrifice the grenades here. They only have 2 of those on side. So those Evil Eyes, unless Sophia has somehow managed to pick them off at range, which I doubt she has, are still going to be in play here and still be of use. Shin, everything being opened up inside a kitchen here, just looking for those angles to make sure that far side is clear. They'll open up this left panel now to try and get themselves in behind Black Box for a plant, and this is where Talon have really got to bite back viciously.
That's a big peek from Demic. It's actually dropped the diffuser down in Moto, managing to get the kill onto Ramu. So that now leaves us in a 4v4. 25 seconds left to go. Diffuser down on the ground, needs to be collected, but obviously they're just being very cautious about doing so. Number 2 tries to get aggressive, but he misses his shots, and that is backed up by Shin, who does manage to find one. Afro another, and surely this is all going in the favour of FAV right now. Misa, we hear the Alder churning out. He gets one. 2v3, 2v2, as somehow Talon start to hold on. 2v1, diffuser down. Surely this is it. 1v1, Soldier, just keep yourself alive, and that is going to be the round. Talon keep themselves fighting and see us going all the way to 12.
Oh, squeaky bum time at the end there, Tim. When you're there with the pistol, you're like, there's 2 seconds left and it's 1 versus 1. It's the boogeyman coming, but manages to keep himself alive, and sure enough, Talon keep their dreams alive. All 12 rounds of regulation this one will take. Question is, can Talon get us through into overtime, Tim? Because again, after that first half, I do feel like they deserve something.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really good for them because it lets them go back to gym as well. Getting one of those 2 sites that they've struggled with so far, 1 means now they can get back to one that they won pretty convincingly. It was reasonably solid. It came down to a 2v3 at the end, but they were completely in control of it and were able to shut down site. They had control over Master, very much so. And that's going to be a big confidence boost for Talon. They're looking to get themselves into overtime here. Of course, if we go to overtime, the split of points will be different. The winner in overtime gets 2 points. The loser will still pick up 1 point. So as you said, if Talon can come through here, they guarantee themselves something. And it's sort of difficult to find an argument to say they don't deserve something out of this one because they've really had their moments.
Yeah, a number of close rounds, good first half play overall. I would like to see it kind of balance out for both teams here because equally, again, we do keep talking about Talon as the unexpected heroes. We love an underdog here in the, well, not really here in the UK. We're in Paris, but we're Brits, so we'll take it that way. Brits love the underdog in this case. But for FAV, they're the ones who are starting to put on a bit of a show themselves. Number 2 and Afro up there with the kills. Ramu not far behind. What a recovery he's had, by the way. I'm pretty sure he was like 1 and 7 earlier on. He's bounced all the way back to being up to 9 and 10. So sure, still not positive, but has really woken up these last few rounds.
Absolutely, going very, very well. We've seen a couple of big entries as well, just setting them up. FAV unfortunately unable to double down on that entry that he got in the last round and lock it out. So can FAV take the full 3, or will Talon keep fighting to take us into overtime? What a peek from Soldier, gets aggressive onto that catwalk window and manages to take down Typon. What a start.
How often do you expect to see a player come vaulting over a window there as you've just pushed your way in? Almost never. Vaulting like that gets you locked into the animation where you're basically screwed. They know where the animation starts, they know where it ends, they know where you're going to be, but it's just the unexpected nature of, I've just stepped inside a garage, oh, why is someone vaulting towards me? A very aggressive and risky play coming out of Soldier, but it gets the result you want, and now they're looking for the feet, can't quite find them, but does take out a friendly drone in the process. Tim, they're down to 5 drones and we're only 60 seconds in.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate that, as you see looking down the side of Talon, there was absolutely 0 damage done, so it was just a complete and utter loss for FAV. there, trying to find those feet. And like you say, it could well be something that comes back to bite them later on if they're struggling, particularly for information as to what is going on inside the site. And that was something that happened last time, as we said, with that area in logistics. They just weren't sure that there were 2 players in there, and it came back to bite them. Ramu, he's going to be working underneath, 2 nades in hand, so if they can get a little bit of information, and this is where the drones come in again, a little yellow ping for anybody inside a site, Ramu should be able to take them down with a vertical nade.
I did kind of speak incorrectly as well, because they still had 2 Twitch drones on field, and with Twitch being on the field, you only have 9 normal drones, so not the end of the world. They did have 7. I'm pretty sure they're now down to 5, as they've lost out on a couple of those Twitch drones in the process as well. Bit of a stall out here for the side of FAV, as they're starting to engineer themselves for the final push, getting that Logi hatch opened up. Even if they don't intend to play it, which they probably will later on in towards the last 30 seconds or so, it just reminds the side of Talon that, hey, we could come dropping through here, there could be pressure, you best be worried.
Ramu just holding this angle for the longest of time here, and FAV not really making much progress. To say that they're in a 4v5, it's going to have to be an explosive finish from them. Grenade in hand for main stairs. That's going to be the flash going out that signals the push, but there is not enough going on. But then Shin, Afro, how many times have we seen it? They get in and get themselves a couple. Ramu manages to find Marble, 3v2 now. It's up to Heady to hold on from logistics. He's done it once. Can he do it again? Diffuser not going down yet. There's the kill, 3v1. It's up to Misa, 1v2. Afro planting. Misa, surely he might have an opportunity to hold on to this. Afro comes off. He finds the flick and shuts him down. What a finish to the round from Misa.
Oh, I mean, you're happy in the first place because a new player's just stepped up and basically won a 1 versus 3 in the close, but it looked like it was lights out. It looked like FAV were going to get it over the finish line, but no, Talon hold on just narrowly and keep things going here. I do like how FAV adapted. They realised, okay, Heady was inside Logi last time. They turned attention towards it and pushed in there from the Jacuzzi breach rather than just through bedroom. So good learning on their side. Sadly, you can't quite learn your way out of a 1 versus 3 loss, though, Tim. It's a real tough one.
It certainly is, and FAV are going to be kicking themselves. FAV are going to be kicking themselves because there was absolutely 100% an opportunity to close that out and get it done there, and somehow Talon are fighting. And think about now, if Talon come back and win this and get the lion's share of the points, get those 2 points rather than the 1, that's going to be a tough loss. That's going to be a tough one for FAV to take because, you know, in a 1v3, Talon then coming back and getting themselves the win is going to be absolutely huge. So we head into, I mean, as if there was any other way, Des. Our first game of Stage 2, our first game of APAC North, and it goes to overtime.
Of course it does, Tim. Of course it bloody well does. This one, I think, again, is probably... It feels like it's fair that both teams at least get a point from this. Who walks away with 2, I think, is kind of neither here nor there. It's been a 3-3 half for both teams. You can't really lean an advantage one way or the other. What I will say is that second half was a lot closer overall than the first. Back in the first half, we had a number of rounds that ended with 3, 4 players left alive for the victor. In the second half, it was consistently 1 player left or 2. There were 3 rounds where there was just 1 player left standing on the victorious team. So a much scrappier affair when Talon are on the defense and FAV are on the attack, which means this round and probably round 15, if not round 14, given it's overtime, are going to be a very scrappy 3 rounds.
Shin just looking to get in aggressively, 30 seconds off, drones racing out ahead of him, Cam's being taken down, there could be a challenge coming in here from main stairs. Demic's going to drop back as the drone whizzes by and just gives up his position. So good top floor and mid floor control coming in from FAV. I think they can be fairly confident that they've got this locked down, and Talon, they're going to have a long time to hold on to, but they showed us last time around they are more than capable of holding on to this site. The push from Moto completely faltered and failed, and they were able to get themselves the win. So FAV, it's up to you to take some control.
It's very quick coming out of FAV as well overall, right? 60 seconds in, they're already smashing the floor to pieces. They've done the drone work as far as they're concerned up on the top floor. So either they've caught all players rotating back towards site or have actively thrown them out and seen they're all on the downstairs. You don't act with this kind of confidence going in completely blind, so it's a good show for them to have this much time to play with. But, you know, really, when a team has got 2 minutes to play with here to get everything ready for an execute, it best damn well be an amazing execute, Tim.
Well, that's it. You've got so much time to soften them up, essentially. You know, utility should all be cleared out. You should have access to everything that you need. You can just posture yourself into the perfect position before going for that final push. And it's something now that FAV need to ensure that they do. They're going to have Shin going in. He's going to be downed. He may have an opportunity to be collected here, but they're going to have to be very careful. He's going to be picked up by the Finker boost, and that is going to be Ramu doing his work. Shin, very lucky to still be alive inside of this round.
It's a very fine margin where you get down by a C4, because remembering, like, more than I think it's 20 damage gets you killed rather than downed. So for it to be inside that small radius where you don't quite die, you could call it the Goldilocks region if you want, Tim. You don't quite die, you do go down, but you are recoverable. It is fortunate for Shin, because now he can carry on doing his work inside of the kitchen, smashing this floor open, getting nades on the downstairs, and just generally controlling this deep arsenal area.
Ramu's going to be looking to move into Mortal. He's very conscious about being pushed from that door. It was somewhere that Talon had a little bit of success last time around. There you go. He tries to move in. He gets himself inside of Arsenal, but Demick, he manages to open things up with one onto Shin. Immediate trade, and here he goes. There's the LMG, just firing, churning, finding kill after kill. That's Ramu on 3 so far, but he might need 2 more here. He's got Typon in support. He doesn't manage to find any shots onto Marble inside of Morto. Typon is getting that diffuser down, but what a terribly timed reload. That could have been Ramu. He gets taken down, and now it's all up to Typon. 1v2 shut down. Hedy manages to find that kill. 3 in the round will disable the diffuser, and that is Talon now taking the advantage. With 3 rounds in a row.
Marble, I know it's your first game, buddy, but come on. Little wind-up merchant. He wants to disable stat line for himself. But I really thought for a second there, Tim, that Ramu was going to do it all. Got up to 3, you saw the 4th line up, but then sadly he's getting himself shot out from 2 different angles. A good recovery overall by Talon, who now have a chance to take this one, take 2 points for themselves. And what a great first Playday that would be.
FAV have got to be feeling pretty beat up by now. They've been looking really good throughout. They've been shared with FAV there that can halt the train that is Talon right now, as it's just rampaging along the tracks towards a victory here. 1 more round will do it, and we're going to see FAV Gaming go into the defence of Gym and Bedroom. We saw it from them once in round 3, and they were successful. They did get the win, so they need to hold on to that top floor again. Key areas are going to be logistics, cash and CCTV, particularly for the defenders.
Just 3 great kills, completely clearing out Arsenal as well. A smart call overall by FAV to go for the plant inside of there. I wouldn't have been surprised if originally they were thinking about Moto, but that's kind of the show of, like, identification of, oh, there's an opportunity here. We have seen a gap. We can crouch walk in. We can get stuff done. I like how teams are willing to be that aggressive rather than being very formulaic. And FAV showing that in spades. Now we've got a clash coming out, Tim, for your last round. That's not a bad shout of a way to try and waste a bit of time and keep the other team guessing and distracted.
I kind of love it on those last rounds where it's like, right, let's get it over the line, let's bring the clash, let's really make this difficult and oppressive for these attackers, and that is FAV just trying to get themselves into that opportunity, that 15th round, to be able to win things. It feels like a little bit of a desperation move here, but we'll see just how impactful it can be. Soldier looking to potentially deploy that Gon 6 at range. I don't know if there's going to be any sort of push comes along with it, but he's going to open up the pool window, and then he's going to open up the gym window, and then get himself back up to the roof.
It's not a bad shout, because again, it's that phantom pressure, right? The window's open. What if there is someone outside of there? I can't move freely. Gives you a lot to think about, and that nade was
short.
Probably one to think about as well. Pretty sure it was engineered in towards that bathroom castle that is now going to stay standing at least for a while. We've seen a lot of teams, though, at the Major we saw it too, using nades to try and get rid of those castle barricades. You have to get it right on the money. It's really difficult to connect. And Afro, this is the problem, right? They relied on this window being open as enough reason not to play inside of there, but Afro throws caution to the wind and gets 2 Selmas for his trouble. Sorry, 1 Selma.
If you sat at home thinking, well, why haven't they put somebody on the window? They just need somebody on the window. It's because right now Talon don't have possession of CCTV. They don't have control of that angle, so if they move somebody onto the window, they might find themselves being challenged from there. So for me, Talon are just getting a little bit ahead of themselves. They've done some good work. They've got Jacuzzi wall open. They've got a hole into East, But as you can see, Ramu is still able to roam around. So that challenge I'm talking about from CCTV window would have been absolutely possible. But there is the moment that Talon needed. They get the opener onto Shin. Important because it's a nitro and it's the pulse scanner gone. That's going to remove some information from the side of FAV, and things just ramped up.
Now number 2 is the one dancing around downstairs. This is a really interesting hole, by the way. They're playing C4 on the wall, comes through. Soldier untouched, at least for now, as Afro nets up elsewhere. Soldier makes it a second. What a time to awaken as he hits double digits just with those 2 kills in this round. The problem is, Tim, you're still staring down the barrel at a clash, and we know just how obnoxious shield operators can be as you get towards the close. Soldier, and that was Afro, I think, just narrowly missing each other as well.
Afro is so lucky there not to have lost his head. Typon is going to be playing inside a bathroom, and there's a lot of protection for a clash in that position, the backside being completely covered, so could be a real sticking point unless there is a plan in place to deal with it. There's no Zofia on side, not picked for this attacking lineup, but right now it doesn't matter as Heady manages to get 1, gets 2, and it's that man once again. You've picked up on him so many times. There's Heady coming in with a double exactly when Talon needed it, and somehow out of the depths, Talon fighting their way back from 6-4 down. They managed to take the win 8-6.
Beautiful comeback overall. And for me, I know it's Demic at the top. I know Soldier's had a good game. In fact, you know what I'd argue? The whole team has played really well. If anything else, Demic was quiet compared to normal. And that's not a bad thing when you're still dropping 13 kills. But look, all 5